My sister-in-law is accusing me of sleeping with her husband just because he publicly defended me in an argument with the family members. Guys, I would never do that. But she thinks I would, so here's what I'm going to do about my sister-in-law. I'm considering not attending any more family gatherings because of my sister-in-law. Today, I've been accused of trying to seduce a married man. Not just any married man, but my sister-in-law's husband. I'm incredibly embarrassed that she would question my morality like that. Just when I thought that she could not sink any lower, guys, she somehow manages to hit rock bottom. Well, she's a bully, and I'm tired of giving her attention. I know that they say you should ignore bullies, but I'm not that kind of person. I always have a response ready for anyone who insults me, whether they're family or not, and today I was involved in a fight that escalated between my sister-in-law and me. Worst of all, it was in public. The owner of the establishment had to come out and tell both of us to take it aside. How could she expect me to shut up when she was constantly talking negatively about my background? According to her, the fact that I grew up poor means that I'm less intelligent. Yeah, that's true. I was just telling everyone that I had landed a pretty big client and was going overseas for 2 weeks. She congratulated me, saying that it was a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity and probably my first time out of the country. She then told me to limit the pictures I post, and she felt I was just bragging to the rest of my poor family members. Everybody around the table looked at each other and said nothing, so I drank some juice and did not respond to her. I was in a good mood, and I really did not want to ruin it. Alas, she was in the mood to aggravate me even more, and she then asked me if I even knew how to communicate with international clients. She then proceeded to brag about how she was so lucky that her parents took her to a prestigious school, for she never has issues with foreign clients. I reminded her that I've been doing this job for about 6 years and had interacted with a lot of foreign clients. She then laughed and said that, of course, the company had to fill in quotas, but that did not mean I was good at my job. She was trying to take a dig at me because I'm a minority. I said that she was not my boss and I did not need to impress her. She then raised her voice and told me to stop being snarky because she was just trying to make conversation. Well, I told her to keep her commentary to herself because I didn't come here to talk to her. That's when she went off and told me that I was lucky she was even talking to me. Everyone else fell silent at that. They knew not to get involved when we argued unless they wanted to catch stray bullets. I mean, this woman riles me up so much more than anyone else does. My husband tried to convince me to just ignore her, and I do that, but she always finds a way to get to me. I've just had to accept that every time I want to spend time with my in-laws, she'll be there. If I do not invite her, she throws a tantrum that no one in the family wants her, and so the cycle goes on. I was sure that this time I was just going to make an excuse to leave even though I did not want to. Well, suddenly a stern voice told her that it was enough. Could she not allow us to have one meal in peace? Her attacks on me were getting too much and were boring me. I gasped when I realized who had spoken up. It was Eric, her husband. See, Eric never talks. He's always polite and cordial with all of us. I don't know him on a personal level at all, and I've never heard him speak so sternly. He often keeps quiet and tries to be as invisible as possible when his wife is involved. His speaking out was out of the blue, and everyone else seemed shocked that he spoke up. See, she told him to shut up because this had nothing to do with him. He then told her that if she were not so embarrassing, he would not have to speak up. Well, she right about malfunctioned as she realized that her usual docile husband was speaking back today. Even Buddha would lose patience with her. She's just so annoying, condescending, and self-righteous. He said exactly that to her, which only made her temper worse. She then said that of course he would defend me because he was sleeping with me. Well, I exclaimed because this was the first time that I've heard about this. We barely exchanged 10 words at a family gathering, and why would we cheat together? I told her to take back those words before I shoved them back into her mouth. I was so angry and ready to launch myself across the table toward her to give her a good lesson. She said it made sense, and that could be the only reason her husband was now defending me. She said that of course I was not poor, I was also, loose. My husband told her to take back those words, and he would not allow her to speak like that about his beloved wife, but she said that she would not take back the truth. How else was I getting people on my side when I was the inferior one? She laughed and said that it must be how I got my new clients, too. It was clear that I had nothing more to offer than my body. The bag flew at her head and missed her by an inch. I'd gotten so angry that I grabbed whatever I could. She reacted for 1 second and then reached for her iced tea. Her husband reacted quickly and held her back. He struggled and just attracted the attention of our server, who tried to stop the commotion. A while later, the owner came, and he shouted for us to get out. He said that he would not have hooligans in his restaurant. See, my sister-in-law calmed down and told the owner that I started the fight. She said that she was a long-time patron in the establishment and would never tarnish it. He told her, as a long-term patron, she should know that fights are not allowed. If we want to stay, then one of us has to leave. Well, she points at me and says clearly she has to leave. My husband stood up, grabbed my hand, and said that we're leaving. I wanted to stand my ground and have her leave, but the anger from my husband had stopped me. On the car ride home, he was furious with both of us. He could not even enjoy family footings or get-togethers because my sister and I would be fighting like cats and dogs. I tried to explain to him that it was her fault. She was always provoking me, and he then asked me if I meant I could resort to violence. So I asked him if I was supposed to sit by while she insulted my morality. He then said that he was my husband and was going to defend me. I don't need to react in such a dramatic way. Now, we're probably not going to be allowed back at the restaurant. I then said that I was sorry I embarrassed him like that. Clearly, I need to stop being at his family events. He told me that I was being more than ridiculous, and I don't know. Maybe I should just distance myself. The way that my hatred for his sister is growing every day, it's not good. I've never tried to attack another person before. Yet she somehow managed to just make me lose my cool. Today she went too far, and I feel so insulted. I don't want to see her at the family again, and every time I'm in the present, she finds a way to embarrass me. I need to distance myself so that I can keep the peace. I do feel sorry for my husband because he's stuck between the two of us, and he and his sister used to be so close before I got married to him. She took one look at me and decided that she was going to hate me. She never gave me a chance, which was very, very hurtful. So maybe I should just distance myself so his relationship with her does not suffer. I'm not doing this because I fear her. I'm doing this because I love my husband, Donnie. Updates. Hey guys, it's me again. I've decided that I'm going to stop going to family gatherings. I can love the family from afar, and I have too much going on to not do this. I don't have the energy to fight. I wish that this has helped and made my life simpler, but it has not. Instead of getting peace, I have acquired a cyberbully, and I know that it's my sister-in-law. What sort of coincidence is it that she called me a husband stealer last week, and now I'm getting messages insulting me 2 weeks later? At first, I responded to her and told her to leave me alone. She did not want to leave me alone, and she got other numbers and continued to text me. So I showed her brother, but since I could not link any of the text to her, she easily denied it. Her words did not affect me at all because I knew my truth. She is insecure and causing issues for herself with no help at all from me. She's most likely trying to throw me off my game. You don't know that in 2 weeks I'm leaving the country and will be back in 3 weeks. She was very jealous about that, and we're in a similar field. And from what Donnie has told me, her career has not been advancing as much as she wants it to. That is what happens when someone is spoon-fed and does not want to work a day in their life. I think it's funny that she and my husband had the same upbringing, but they are just so different. My husband is a very humble and hard-working man. He's gotten to where he is through hard work, and she, on the other hand, simply relies on her parents and husband to use their connections for her. Even with that added advantage, I still leave her in the dust. You best believe that I'm going to ace this project and advance even further. She's going to be the last thing on my mind while I'm out of the country. I just hope that she stops this when I come back because it's getting too annoying. She does not let things go. She's like a dog with a bone, and it's so draining. Let me get back to working and researching the company that I'm going to be working with within the next few weeks. I'm also going to just get some off time during the visit to go sightseeing. And you best believe that I'm going to be posting my pictures on social media so that she can choke on her jealousy. Update 2. Hey guys, it's been a week since I returned from my trip. All is fine. I was successful in onboarding the client. I even went sightseeing and took lots of pictures. I'm just waiting for my employer to review my work, but I'm confident in what I did. But that's not what I'm going to talk about today. I want to address my sister-in-law and the can of worms that she opened. I've just been reminded of a comment that someone left. They suggested that maybe she was projecting on me, so jealous of me that she would do anything to make me feel uncomfortable. He told me that maybe I should ask my husband to also cut off contact, and I've considered it, but it appears not to be an option. He doesn't want to do it, and I don't want to force him. He says he loves the both of us and is sure that one day we'll get along. Then there was a comment that claimed that maybe I was not telling the full story. My sister-in-law cannot just accuse me out of the blue of sleeping with her husband, and, well, I'm sorry to discredit your theory, but this is not a soap opera. There's not going to be a sudden revelation that I slept with her husband to get back at her. He is, at most, an acquaintance to me. Now, the reason why I'm even posting an update, something shocking has just landed on my lap. I can't ignore it, but revealing it's going to cause someone's world to implode. I feel like I have an atomic bomb. I don't want to be the one to do this to her, and I'm sure that she even has an explanation for this. So I'm going to talk to her and tell her what I know. I'm going to ask her to tell the truth so that I don't reveal to her the truth. This is so much more than what she would have done for me, so I don't know, maybe I'm in a more giving mood today because I enjoyed my trip out of town. That is tomorrow's problem. Tonight I have a dinner with my husband. He said that he had something very important to tell me and just needed to tell me in person. I'm hoping that whatever it is will have nothing to do with her. Who knows what she's been saying about me since I left town. I feel as if she has an axe to grind with me and she will not rest until I'm out of her life forever. Update. Okay guys, she's declared war against me. I'm going to give her a fitting answer, and I know just the right time to do it. Let us just say that next week she'll have no one on her side. I just need one key person to be back in town. That key person's going to help me execute my plan. There's no use talking to her and offering her a lifeline. She crossed me when she decided to take her issues out on my husband. Do you know what my husband told me that night at dinner? He told me that he was incredibly proud of me for how hard I've been working. He wanted us to have one last good night because things were not going to be good for a while. That's because his company is in trouble and it's all her fault. She feigns innocent and he does not blame her. Of course, he does not see that she did this to him so that she could get to me. She wants to just keep me down, and even if it means hurting her own brother. The company that she works for just backed out of a contract with my husband's company, and they were counting on the top pay of their overdraft. They made them prematurely start work and get suppliers, and then just decided to change the direction. My husband put a lot of his own money toward the project, and I told him not to take. I told him that it would be a conflict of interest if he worked with the company that his sister was working with. He told me that it would be beneficial and that she would never screw him over. She claims that it has something to do with optics, but I think she's a damn liar. She called the whole thing off not even 2 days after I returned and my husband posted my picture on the family group. I just know that she got envious and decided to cause problems. If she was able to bring the contract to my husband, then she's an obvious decision maker. Well, then there's a message I got from her, which said that I would always be in the trenches like a rat. She sent it from a number not registered to her, but I know it's her. It's her cowardly self, and she has no idea what I have. She's given me the go, and she must not be celebrating for too long because soon she's going to be crying. Updates. Red. Well, red was the color of my sister-in-law from head to toe. It was such a pity that her hair has just been done too, blonde of all colors. Now she looked like something out of a Carrie, and I was just holding in my laughter. When we caught eyes, she snarled, but I was too far already for her to do much damage to me. I made sure that when I showed her mother-in-law the video, I was far from her. Her mother-in-law then returned the phone to me and went over to her to express just how fond of her she was at that very moment. I must say that it was quite a sight to behold. Well, sorry, I'm just excited by what happened today that I forgot to give a proper interaction. Today was D-Day, the day when my sister-in-law was exposed for being the woman that she is, who is the one who is unfaithful now, so you guys were right, she was projecting. People like her can never be satisfied, so let me take you back to how it all went down. Remember the day I told you that somebody gave me something that could change everything? Well, that's because somebody did. They sent me a clip of my sister-in-law flirting with her husband's best friend, and then kissing him. Her husband's best friend is big in local government. He has a lot of enemies and is currently going through re-elections. A friend of mine works for the opposite candidate. Somehow she got a hold of the video, and her party wants to use it to destroy him, as close to the election as possible. She recognized my sister-in-law in the video and decided to give the video to me. She knew everything that woman had done to me, and she owed me, for years ago. I had helped her in a situation where the authorities would not take her seriously. As two Native Americans in town, where there are not many of us, we've always stuck together. This was her repaying me for favoring her all those years ago. Well, I took the video and wanted to show it to her mother-in-law. If I did that, then her marriage would be over. That was Plan B. Plan A was to get her to confess to her husband. I decided to discard the plan when she put my husband in financial trouble. I had to wait a while for her mother-in-law to get back in town. It was just my luck that she decided to host a party. She invited me and my husband, and her mother-in-law is complete opposite of her. She's aristocratic, classy, and always composed. She does not take nonsense and has no tolerance for drama. That is why she does not get along with her daughter-in-law. She does not show it blatantly, but in small ways. Most would not even notice that she hates my sister-in-law. As for me, I have had very few conversations with her. I waited till there was a time when she was not talking to anyone and told her that I had something to show her. I felt it was her best interest to see this because it was going to get out very soon. I then showed her the video which showed her little daughter-in-law cheating. Her eyes burned bright with anger when she saw it, and it was the first time I'm seeing her this angry. The next thing that I knew, she was right in front of her daughter-in-law and she slapped her. The slap was following by pouring red wine all over her, and everybody gasped, and then she took the whole bottle from the server who was walking around and downed it over my petrified sister-in-law. Then she pointed at the door and told her to get out. I've never seen her that frightened before. It was more than satisfying to watch her walk of shame, and that was when she deserved, she got what she needed, for harassing me for so long, and now, who was the cheater? Update. I'm shaking as I write this. I did not know that she would go so far with me. Thank goodness that somebody saved me, even if it were the last person I thought would do this in the world. Basically, my sister-in-law lost it and tried to kidnap me. She put a tracker on my car, lured my brother somewhere else, and then came to the house. When I opened up the house, she attacked me by punching me in the face. She told me that she would never forget what I did to her. She was finally going to do what she had always dreamt of doing. She said that those texts were not enough. She should have done this sooner, but she wanted to give me a chance. Well, she also did not want things to get messy. Now she had nothing to lose, and the next thing I knew, she covered my mouth with a cloth and I passed out. This was all so sudden and so random. It was about 2 weeks since her husband had announced that he was divorcing her. Not only that, but her affair partner had dropped and quit his job. The tape was never released because he quit his job, and as for her, I'd not heard from her for a very long time. Figured that she was just going to cut her losses and try to get as much money as possible in the divorce. It was not going to be easy for her mother-in-law was fuming, and I did not even think that I was on her radar. I won. I mean, what else could she do? Just had no idea that I had pushed her this far. When I woke up, I was at a location I've never been to before. She told me that she was going to do something to me and explained that nobody was ever going to look for me. My husband was going to think that I left him to pursue a career overseas. She had already purchased the tickets, and it was going to look like, I actually left the country. Guess who was going to help her to make sure that the plan was successful? The one and only best friend, Eric. Apparently, he hated me to the core because I cost him his job. I was in and out of consciousness as she continued to drug me. I did not know when the days ended or started, and I was just convinced that I was going to die. These days spent with her were hell, and I barely ate or did anything or drink. She told me that my day was coming and I would just not know, and which made it even better, I guess. I told her that she was crazy and my husband would never be convinced that I would just leave him. She told me, but he actually bought the whole thing and really hated me. Nobody was looking for me, therefore I could just disappear. One day I was woken up by sirens. There were so many blue and red lights and so much noise, I was very confused about where I was for a minute, until I heard a very familiar voice. It was Eric, and he was asking me if I was okay. I asked him what he was doing there, and he just told me that he's come to save me. I asked him how even knew that I was there, and he told me that he'll explain it later. So now I need to go to the police. Well, they took part into my statement while I was sitting in the ambulance. Later on, they took me to the hospital, which is where I'm still at now. I'm still a bit confused and trying to figure out what had really happened, but I'll let you guys know as soon as I find out. Updates. All thanks to so much of your comments praying for my recovery. I know, it's crazy. Nobody could have ever seen the fact that she would kidnap me. I should have seen the signs from her obsessive text messages, and I just thought that she was a cyberbully. Clearly, she has issues. Well, at least now she's going to get help for those issues. But I don't think that she's going to get the help that she thinks. Well, she's currently pleading temporary insanity. I'm not going to let her get away with that easily. I gave the evidence of all the text messages that she sent me over the past few months. I hope that it'll help them with the case, and I hope they lock her up and throw away the key. She had very much intentions to wipe me off the face of the earth, and it scares me. I actually thought that she was going to kill me. Thank goodness for Eric, who saved me. It turns out Eric got word from his caretaker that his ex was using one of his cabins. When they separated, he forbid her from using anything that he spent money on. He also alerted staff to tell them if she ever shows up at any of the houses. She did not think ahead, obviously, which is why she used a cabin that belonged to him. He asked the caretaker to report to him, and he thought that she might still be seeing his best friend at the cabin and just wanted to make sure. Instead, the key taker discovered her going in and out of the cabin several times a day. He did not see Eric's best friend, and what he did notice was that she often had 2 drinks with her. That made him think that she had somebody inside the house. So then one day, when she was not there, he bugged it. It just so happened that the noise from the room I was in carried over to the room with the bug. When the caretaker checked what was in the room, he saw me sleeping. He did not do anything. Instead, he went and reported everything to his boss. My brother-in-law already knew that I was missing, so imagine his shock when he found out a woman with my description was tied up in that house. He was convinced that it was me, and she kidnapped me. So later that evening, he brought the cops over to try to rescue me, and when they got there, they found her red-handed and rescued me. Since then, they've been building a case against her. Final update. Hey guys, it's me again. I'm finally free from that crazy woman. It might have taken half a year, but she's finally behind bars. She got 5 years in prison, which is not enough, but at least it's something in addition to that. Her husband left her, and her family has disowned her. She named her co-conspirator, Eric's best friend, and said that he was the mastermind. She claimed he did it to get back at me for making him quit his job. He tries to deny it, but she has video, which was evidence of the affair. His wife left him, and he ended up getting 5 years probation, just like my sister-in-law. So even if she gets out, she'll have nothing. She's going to have to start over, and it's not easy, with a criminal record. Some of you asked about how my in-laws have been reacting to this. You might have noticed that I did not talk about them much throughout the whole ordeal. That's because they have been very passive over the past couple of months. They let her get away with that, without it, and whatever she wants. They're the main reason why she's so spoiled, and they only distance themselves from her because it looks bad for them. They figured that they would preserve their reputation, so they took my side. I'll never trust them again. Therefore, I still refuse to attend my family gatherings. My husband has decided to do the same as me. Her kidnapping shook him so much, and he's still not okay. Sometimes when we're sleeping, his hands start searching for me, and I know he does this to make sure that I'm still there, and have not been taken away. I can tell that he went through a lot, and he had to believe that I actually left him for a couple of days. I can't even imagine how his heart must have felt. We're just going to have to work on rebuilding, and I've decided to bury myself into work. It helps to stop all those thoughts about her, you know. It just helps so much to quieten her voice in my mind as she tells me exactly what she's going to do with my lifeless body. What I've learned from this is that you should distance yourself from people, especially the ones that hate you. Give in their family or not, they tell you to your face that they don't like you and would rather you not exist in this world. Take it seriously, unless you want to end up just like me. This story had everything. I mean, betrayal, twisted revenge, pettiness, you name it. And the fact that OP ended up catching the sister-in-law and just flipped the script on her when she got the evidence of sister-in-law cheating with somebody from the local government. I mean, come on. It just gets crazier and crazier as the seconds tick by. I would like to know what you guys thought about today's story, and if you were in OP's position, would you have done the same thing? Would you have walked down that same line that OP walked? I do want to know your opinion once again, so drop it down below. My name's Mr. Reddito, and I narrate stories like this every single day. I hope you enjoyed it, and if you want more, consider subscribing, guys, and of course remember, it's cool to be kind. See ya.